It's beer o'clock on Real Ale Craft Beer. Today we've got a beer from Upslope Brewing Company. Never heard of them, but I paid £2.49 for this in Home Bargains. It's a 4.8% ABV, 355 milliliter American craft Pilsner. They're based in Boulder, Colorado. Without further ado, let's get the beer out into a glass and see what we get. Whenever I see something new like this in Home Bargains, I'm thinking to myself, pick it up. Okay, you might be paying £2.50 for a can of lager, and for a 375 milliliter can, 12 fluid ounces, you might be thinking to yourself, I could buy maybe a Warsteiner or maybe a Paul and a Hell's Lager, and for cheaper as well. You could buy those two beers for cheaper. But the point is, if you asked me to point out Boulder, Colorado, or even Colorado on the American map, I wouldn't be able to do it. I wouldn't know where it was. I wouldn't be able to go, right, there's America on the map, there's Colorado. I'd have no idea. So my point is, what I like about these discount supermarkets and craft beer stores in general is that you're trying beer from other parts of the world which you wouldn't necessarily have that opportunity to try. So for £2.49, I think it's an absolute bargain. Absolute, as long as it tastes good. As long as it tastes good. We got a 1 finger white head, good levels of carbonation, rolling up the glass. It's not hazy at all. It's a relatively clear amber coloured lager. So with that said, nice carbonation rolling up the side of the glass. Let's get the aroma. Craft lager described as bright, fresh and easy. Now for me, this has got the aroma of a Helles lager. There's an element of sweetness in the aroma that's quite nice actually. Slightly peppery, slightly spicy. Lemony if you like. Yeah, it smells good. It smells good. Let's dive in. Cheers everybody. Yeah, for me, definitely Helles lager. Helles lager, really lovely. I think if any lager is going to break into that kind of, a lot of people have been saying for years that craft lager is the next big thing. Lagers are going to be the next big thing, and it's never quite happened in the craft beer world. Although saying that, I've definitely had my head turned by really good quality lager. But if there's any style of lager that I think is going to penetrate and make its way into like where the New England IPA is in terms of like big sales, I think it will be the Helles lager. The difference between a Helles lager and a Pilsner is that they scale the bitterness back a little bit from what a Pilsner is. And in that aspect, the beer becomes slightly sweeter. And I think for today's palates, today's drinkers, you're getting that all malt quality. You're getting that little bit of sweetness, which people like sweetness, don't they? I didn't realise how many people like sweet stuff. I'm more of a bitter guy myself. The older you get, the bitterer you get. It does have a nice bitter finish on the back end. It's not as bitter as a Pilsner, as I just mentioned, but by scaling back that bitterness a little bit, by probably adding less hops in the boil kettle, you're getting more of that kind of grainy, wafer-like biscuit flavour to begin with. And that's quite inviting. That's quite an inviting flavour. I quite like that wafer, I quite like that biscuit, I quite like that, well, that malt base. You're really getting a flavour for that malt base, and it's lovely. It really is a lovely beer. It's a really good example of a Helles lager. Now, of course, and this is absolutely fine by Upslope Brewing Company, they've decided not to call it a Helles lager, but a craft lager. And that's okay. That's absolutely okay. I suppose if you're trying to sell something, if you're trying to, like, for argument's sake, this is in home bargains. A lot of people have heard the word craft beer. Lots of people now over the last few years have kind of dipped their toe into craft beer. I think it's far easier to sell a craft lager in somewhere like home bargains than it would be to try and push or try and sell a Helles lager. Do you know where I'm coming from with that? But it's good. I mean, £2.49 a can. I'm glad I've tried it. I can buy a bottle of Paulaner Helles Munich lager for, it's also 5.3% ABV, I believe. The Helles lager from Paulaner, correct me if I'm wrong. And it's less money. You can buy a whole pint 500ml bottle for £2 in Marks and Spencer. So it's cheaper, you get more beer, and it's very much the same thing. But at the same time, I'm glad I picked it up. I'm glad I tried it, because I've drank over 8,000 beers on the channel. But there's so much beer out there. I haven't even touched the surface. I haven't even grazed the surface on the amount of beer there is in the world. There's so many different beers. So when you see something new like this to you, just from a faraway land, naturally, as I do what I do, I pick up different beers and review them. I'm glad I picked it up. I'm glad I tried it. I'm glad I reviewed it. But I don't think I'd be picking it up over my Paulaner Helles lager, or maybe even my Warsteiner. But that said, it's a really nice beer. Sounds conflicting, doesn't it? Sounds conflicting. I think it's because it's travelled a long way. They've had to bump the price to £2.49, and that's probably the only hindrance, is price. So for the European market, they've had to put the European market, the British market, if you like, they've had to put a different sticker on the back. Contains water, barley, sterling hops, and lager yeast. 4.8%, 355ml can. Ingredients: snow melt, water, liquor, malt, sterling hops, and lager yeast. The specs: handcrafted, aluminium can, portable, recyclable, and good. Yeah, and it's certified American by the Brewers Association, American craft beer. There you go. Available in home bargains, £2.49. You see me try it. It's up to you if you want to pick it up yourselves. I think for the price point, the distance is travelled all the way from America, it's pretty decent actually. I like it. funny, isn't it? Some beers blow your mind. Some beers absolutely blow your mind and you're kind of like 10 out of 10, yeah, amazing. And then there's other beers that are just massively solid and they're doing really great for the style. But then again, I think the style's not really that exciting. So I'm conflicted as to like go really high with this one because it tastes exactly how I wanted it to taste, like a really good craft lager, which is exactly what it says on the tin. So I should be fair. I was going to say 8 out of 10, but I'm not. I'm going to say 9. I'm going to say 9 out of 10. I like it. Really solid. Please put your comments in the comments box. Subscribe to our daily beer and food reviews. Give us a big fat thumbs up. Boom. Cheers.